Hello and welcome to In the Cool of the Day. I'm your host, Tia Young, and our show today is about one courageous woman's battle with and victory over cancer. Our special guest is a mother, an entrepreneur, an author, a motivational speaker, the founder of Women with a Purpose, and above all, a cancer survivor. Please welcome Miss Angie White to In the Cool of the Day. Angie, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you here.
Great.
Good. I know you've been through an ordeal.
I have.
Let's get right into it.
I have.
How did your battle with cancer begin?
About 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with pneumonia, and I went into the hospital, and I had been given 2 rounds of antibiotic. And once I was given those 2 rounds of antibiotic, the pneumonia still was there. So they ran a CAT scan, and the doctor came back in, and he said, I see the pneumonia, but I see something else sitting on your lungs. And he said, I don't know what it is. He said, the reason it's sitting in front of the pneumonia, so that's one of the reasons why the 2 rounds of antibiotics had not worked. And he said, can we keep you in the hospital overnight so we can have some experts to come in and look at you in the morning? And that they did. And when they came in, they began to run tests for like 4 or 5 days. In fact, it was 2 years ago, 2015, Thanksgiving Day, when I came out of the hospital. So I was going through this battle 2 years ago today. It started. Wow. And I went in, had lung cancer, February of 2016. And once they did the lung cancer, it's supposed to have been 2 hours. It ended up being a 10-hour surgery. I was supposed to be in the hospital for 2 days. I ended up being in there 9 days. I came home. I had no one to take care of me physically, so I had, because they couldn't find a place for me in a 24-hour facility where I would get 24-hour care. So what I did, I had a lot of faith. I believed. I'm a strong believer. I've been up under the same pastor, Pastor Horace Wilson, Foster Grove Baptist Church there in my Foster Grove, Spartanburg, South Carolina. And he was always there, him and his wife, First Lady of the church, Barbara Wilson. And I believed in God, and I had faith. It was faith that got me through, because it was days I had 0 income. It was days I didn't know how I was going to make it through the cancer, how I was going to survive. 9 months later, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. It took me 9 months to heal from the lung cancer. 9 months later, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. So there I am again. October 31st of 2016, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. I went to surgery December 2016 on December 9th. And then I went back to surgery again because there was some issues on December 16th, 7 days later. So there was 3 surgeries in 1 year, 2 times cancer twice, lung and breast cancer in 1 year. Okay, I finished my radiation June of 2017 this year, and now my vision is to move forward to be able to help other cancer patients.
Right. Well, you know, Angie, I know that when you went to South Carolina to have that's the second bout that you had, you and I talked, and we've been talking back and forth. We've even prayed together over the phone.
Yes.
And you kept saying, you know, I got to tell my story. I got to tell my story. Why is your story so important?
For one, the enemy had an attack on me many years ago, like back in 1999 when I got out of my marriage. I have 2 sons, and I have 1 daughter. My daughter lives in Virginia, Northern Virginia, and have been for 10 years. I was able to send her to one of the prestigious top 10 colleges it was in the world. And not only she graduated. I was always told, you can't do that, you just got out your marriage, there's no way you can send her to that particular college. Not only she graduated. Then she relocated here and got a job here in the DC metropolitan area and been here ever since, over 10 years. Then I have a son that became an entrepreneur and has been for the last maybe 10 years. And he was finally able to quit his regular full-time job about 3 years ago. So I have a lot of faith, I have a lot of hope in my children, and I wanted to share my testimony with others so that they too can see if I did it as a single mom, they can do it as a single mom. I had 2 of my children became entrepreneurs, and one of them is studying to Department of Justice, criminal justice, and he works as well. So I have 2 that became entrepreneurs. So as a single mom, from 1999 to now to 2017, between raising those 2 that came entrepreneurs, and then now myself as an entrepreneur, 2-time cancer survivor, I want to share my message around the world to single parents, where they will know that if I did it, they could do it too. Right. So it's been a journey. It hadn't been easy. I was even suicidal July of 2016. Yes. And I had to ask for forgiveness, because I was losing my faith because I couldn't see. I never knew how I was going to make it. Right. I never knew how the power bill was going to be paid. I never knew how the water bill was going to be paid. But by the grace of God, I had a young lady out of Maryland. She's the owner of Triune Solutions, Teresa Gilchrist. And she called me and she said, I need someone to do some business development for me. And since you're in the house going through with your health, if you can do a couple of hours, that'll give you some income to actually pay your utilities. And I told her what I really needed the most, because my son was doing the biggest portion, and that was keeping a roof over my head, because as I said before, I had 0 income. Right. And that went on for 2 years. That was one of my
questions. I wanted to know how your church and your family and friends, and I know you had friends here, because when I first met you, you were gainful employed. You were making good money and really doing well here in the area.
Yes, in the DMV area, I did. I did very good here. Yeah. But I went back home because my youngest son did 1 year of college and then got confused. So I did very good, and I had good friends from my business colleagues here were very good to me as I was sick.
That's wonderful.
Yes, FutureCom, Keith Wood, the owner and president of FutureCom, he reached out to me deeply, all the time on the telephone. What if I needed something, he never said no. And Teresa Gilchrist and Triune Solutions, my church family in South Carolina, they were faithful to me. Foster Grove Baptist Church, my pastor, his wife, First Lady Barbara Wilson, they visits. They came to Greenville when I got diagnosed with the cancer, before the surgery and after the surgery. Then I had another good friend, member of my church family. She reached out to me like a mother. Wow. She was just like a mother. Right. She found me. She said,
your children. You told me
and my children
earlier that your son made sure that everything.
I had a roof over my head. But see, I raised my kids to be givers, and we're givers, so we're always helping. And see, I had a personal relationship anyway, a lot of faith with the Lord before I even got myself into dealing with the cancer. But the cancer, at the end, now that I beat it twice, it wasn't to sit me down. The cancer was to sit me down so I could start my business and continue to do the motivational speaking, to speak out to single parents around the world. It wasn't for me, for my body. It was to sit me down so I could focus more on my book, my life, my story, as a single mom. So, and as an entrepreneur. So that was the reason, but I didn't see it right then. But now I know that as I've healed, because like I said, they lost me twice in the hospital.
I didn't know that either. I didn't know that you coded twice. Talk a little bit about the doctors and the care that you received there.
I didn't know that they had lost me the first time until I woke up and I asked the young lady, I said, am I going back to the other hospital on the east side? Because I was there for a procedure to make sure the cancer hadn't went no other place on my body. And she says, no. And I say, well, can you give me the phone? I need to call my daughter. And my daughter was in Virginia, and I'm in South Carolina having this procedure. They moved me from one hospital to another just to make sure the cancer hadn't moved on to other parts of my body. And she says, your daughter's already called and spoke with the doctor. So I said, let me call. She said, I have her number here. So she called my daughter, and my daughter was on the phone crying and said, Mama, they lost you, and you stopped breathing. And they had to bring you back, so they had to stop the procedure. And she said, Rocky is on his way. That's my oldest son. And he's an entrepreneur, so he done left his company and had to come to me, to the hospital. And then that's how I actually found out that that they had actually lost me. Then I came out of surgery in February. That was in November, the couple of days before Thanksgiving. I came out of surgery in I came out of surgery in February, and they took me to ICU, and I think that's when they lost me again, and I kept saying, let me call my children to come back, because I sent them home because I had been in surgery for 10 hours.
Wow.
You know, so, and they had been there since 6 in the morning. So, and it was like 8 or 9 at night. So that was the thing that I knew, that at that moment, I knew I was left here to tell my story. I knew I was left here to help people. Right. I had always prayed about my passion. What should I be doing? And I'm always helping people. I love to cook. I love to help people. So I know that, with that being said, that my program, along with motivational speaking and helping single moms learn the basics of computers, that will inspire and help others, and I was kept here to help other people. Mm-hmm. Now I've added something else up under my umbrella in the Angie White consulting firm. Mm-hmm. Is what I will be doing is I want to reach out to cancer patients while they're waiting on funds for their disability or to be approved when they've been diagnosed with cancer. And because you have zero income like I did. But like I said, I had great people from the DC metropolitan area that helped me. And my church family, mm-hmm. they were there for me.
Some
and my
people
son.
Don't have that.
Yes, a lot of people don't have that. I mean, and I didn't have to beg them. My church family was faithful. One of the members from my church, she did never turn me down. She called the pastor and got my number. She texted him and got my number. So, and my great friends in the DC metropolitan area, they were faithful to me. They called me and they reached out to me, and they never turned their back, and they stayed with me the whole 2 years that I dealt with the cancer.
That's amazing.
Yes, they never turned their back.
That's really good.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, we are going to take a short station break, and we will be right back. So don't touch that dial. Thank you for joining us today on In the Cool of the Day. I am Tia Young, your host, and our special guest is entrepreneur and cancer survivor, Angie White. Angie, where does your passion for life come from? Talk to us a little bit about that.
My passion for life comes from the faith. I've been up under the same pastor for 20 years, Pastor Horace Wilson, and I drive 45 minutes to church. Some ask, well, why would you drive 45 minutes? I tried other churches in my area. It's only 45 minutes away. I did it for 20 years for one reason. I get the message, and my pastor is anointed, and I have a lot of belief in him and his word and what he preaches. I get it. I understand it. It's right there in the Bible. It's nothing. I don't have to look nowhere else for it. I don't have to wonder, is he telling the truth? Because I read my Bible for myself, so I know. And I have a personal relationship. So I'm content where I am. So I have a lot of faith. I have the passion to give and to help others because of my trials and tribulations and what I've went through in life. And it's been on me for probably 20 years to become a motivational speaker. I raised 3 kids by myself. Like I said, 2 become entrepreneurs. 1 is studying criminal justice. My vision is to help as many people as I can and to share my testimony nationwide, all over the world. Because if some people believe that they could not send their child to a prestigious college, a top 10 college with 1 parent in the household. Some believe that they could not live in a middle-class neighborhood. And I have the faith and the beliefs that if it happened for me, it could happen for someone else's child or for someone else's as a parent. Right. You know, and I want to share that love and I want to share that faith. Not to mention, so many people reached out to me when I was at my lowest with cancer that was in another state that wasn't even no kin to me, not even related to me in no kind of way. So therefore, I want to help others and as many as I can, you know.
Right. Well, you said something earlier before the break that I want to ask you about, and you may not know the answer to this. If you don't, then, you know, I'll have to go out and do some research myself on it. You mentioned that there are some people who come into the hospital and they have diseases like you had, and they have absolutely no money. So what do they do? Is it the hospital that sits down with you and works to try and find grants or something out there to help these people so they can get the surgery that they need?
Now, the hospital have programs that will help you pay for the medical bills, and most of the time you can, now that the Obama care was in place, you can get that, and that will reach out. You can reach out to that, and that will take care of your medical bills for a monthly fee, because you do have to have insurance now, you know, as a U.S. citizen. Now, when I say that the cancer patients need help, I didn't get no help with rent. There's no funds out there to keep a roof over your head.
I see. Okay. Your light bill.
The Cancer Society give you $200 per year. They give you these local agencies. So what I did my own research. What I did, I reached out to the governor's office and the senator's office, and they gave me a list. I even called to Washington, D.C. They gave the Cancer Center of America, and they gave me a list of organizations that will help assist you with rent. Because your local offices, cancer centers there, they may not have a list of everyone. So that's why I know I would be of a great help to them, so that I could start an organization where I can at least give them something toward their mortgage once a month or their rent once a month while they're waiting on their disability. Because what I went through, I never knew how nothing was going to be paid daily. I never knew. I lived strictly on faith. Yeah. I never knew how my power bill was going to be paid. I never knew how my water bill was going to be paid. And it was always through an individual, not an organization. 1 or 2 times maybe. Cancer Center, I think, of America give you $100 a year. Cancer Center of America, the Cancer Society gave you $200 per year. That's not enough to pay your mortgage or either your rent or your power or your water. I mean, it's impossible to even live that way. But I had faith. I never knew how anything was going to be paid. But like I said, everybody don't have the type faith I got, so they need someone to assist them and to help them.
With that.
Yes.
So now, Angie White Consulting, is a part of that consulting business is going to address the need that you just said right
Correct.
now.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what is Angie White Consulting?
Angie White Consulting is something that I started while I was sick with lung cancer, before I even got diagnosed with the breast cancer. Something that I started writing my book first, and then after I was sitting home and was dealing with the going through therapy with the lung cancer and trying to get my body back to normal again, which was a 9-month process and a lot of pain. I would take 2 or 3 hours out the day, and I would write. And I realized once I started doing the business development for Triune Solutions here out of Maryland, from home, and setting her up with clients that needed her service, because she's an IT company. She does security here. She's an IT, she don't do security, but she's an IT company. And basically what she does here is, you might mitigate vulnerabilities in her real time. She provides network infrastructure designs, implementation, and maintenance to include routers, switches, firewalls, and servers.
So she gave you
the opportunity to set up appointments in the DMV area from home.
Which provided money for you to,
Correct,
to
yes.
take care
And
of.
I didn't have any luxury. I didn't have cable. I didn't have HBO. I couldn't look at Showtime, none of that. Only thing I had was the internet and a Fire Stick, because it was cheaper that way. And I could use the internet to actually make contacts with companies and speak with presidents and CEOs on her behalf for her business and set the appointment up, and she'd go out and meet with the company.
Okay, I see. And then so you're doing that to help the cancer patients, and I guess other people that are in dire need when they have health issues like that.
Okay.
Will you also be, with your motivational speaking, will that be, what will that be? Will it be geared towards women or
parents?
Parents, okay.
Now, the motivational speaking will be toward parents and cancer, breast cancer and lung cancer. Now, what I will be doing basically is the motivational speaking and assisting cancer patients would be helping them find agencies that will help them with income, getting their rent or their mortgage paid, if not all of it, some of it. That's my goal, because I don't want nobody to have to go through what I went through mentally, because it makes the process longer for you to heal when you're having to be mentally stressed and physically,
I can understand that, yeah.
So therefore, by me coming out of it the way that I did, and made it through, I want to reach out and help other cancer patients, breast or lung, because in the state of South Carolina, you can't even get Medicaid if you have lung cancer, because, and it was a few states like that, but you can get Medicaid for breast cancer while you're going through the treatments.
So complicated.
Yes. So I went through a lot. But like I said, if it had not been for the Obamacare, I wouldn't have made it through as long as I did with the lung cancer. Although I had to pay a fee each month for the insurance, but I had it prior to me getting sick.
Is it a fee that's like a low fee, or is
it goes by your pay, what you make?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They look
yeah,
at everything.
It goes by that. Yes.
Now, you are also the founder of Women with a Purpose, WWAP. What is WWAP?
That's called the WAP. And the lady that's called the WAP organization, and that program would be strictly for churches. Okay. One of the ladies that I said that I admire at my church, that I look up to, Brontia Hosley, she helped me come up with that name. And she said, Angie, she said, I got a name. This is long before I got cancer. She said, I got a name for, what you can do for the church, because I wanted to go in and teach the church single parents basic computer skills to get them all for welfare, food stamp, all churches, welfare, food stamps, so they can get a job in a call center. Because if they know the basics of the computer, it's easy, you can go and get a job in a call center because they train you on their software. So it's nothing that you have to be, have a bachelor's or master's degree to do. And that way they can get out of the McDonald's or the Burger King. And nothing wrong with McDonald's. I remember my first job was at McDonald's.
Right.
But I'm saying, it's just moving up a step. Yeah. So, and then it puts them in a position where they can actually purchase a home one day. And they can get off and up under the housing authority, whatever city or state they're living in. So Women with a Purpose is to give them basic computer skills and to teach them how to navigate through the internet, how to put an application in online, and how to copy and paste. Okay, just the basics. Nothing fancy, no kind of PowerPoint, none of that, That'll come later. But just to do the basics to get them where they can actually go and apply at Verizon Call Center, Cox Communication, Time Warner, you got Charter Communications. I think now they changed the name from Charter to, oh gosh, I can't even think. But anyways, you got all these call centers where you can actually go and get a position if you know the basic computer skills. Right. So that was my goal as well.
Okay, got it. Now we have about 3 minutes left in this segment. I have 2 questions I want you to try to answer. Okay, and I'm timing you. Is Angie White different today than before cancer? That's one question. And the other question is, what important message should our viewers take away from this discussion today?
Okay, the first question, yes, I am different. And what made me different is I was always a person that had a lot of faith. What really made me different was the cancer and being in the house for 2 years dealing with my health and going back and forth and just having hope and depending on a higher power opposed to myself and a paycheck. Okay, the second question you want to repeat that one more time?
What message? What simple message?
The simple message that I would give the world is to always never to give up, to have faith, to believe, and to always reach out and help someone else in their time of need, because one day you may need something. And believe it or not, I got my help from my church family, from my children, from strangers and family. I mean, my friends and business colleagues in the DMV area, they were miles, hundreds and hundreds of miles away, but they reached out to me. So the main thing is to have faith, to believe, and to always reach out to others, because one day it may come when you need help.
You never know that.
Yes.
That's a good message. Angie White, thank you so much, and you are invited back anytime. I'd love to do a part 2.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Cancer is a devastating, evil disease. It does not care about race, color, creed, sexual preference, how rich or poor one may be, or any political preference. It is vicious and relentless. I'm always encouraged when I hear stories like Angie's. My faith soars when I hear how she walked day by day with the Lord Jesus Christ and has received her healing. My family and I also walk with Christ through our dear brother, my brother Nelson's cancer and stroke ordeal. Our faith got us through this ordeal, and we knew that Nelson was ready to go to his heavenly home in a blaze of glory. So be encouraged and never give up on your faith in God. God never makes a mistake. Truly, his eye is on the sparrow, and he watches over you and over me. Thank you for watching In the Cool of the Day. See you next week with another great show. Bye-bye.